19 innings pitched. Evan Applewick drives this one back deep to left, looking at the numbers. And did he make the catch? He did! He made the catch! The left-hander Jessada Brown making right.
Hits a drive deep to left field. Will this get out at the fence? It's gone!
It is my pleasure to have with me this evening Jessada Brown with the Miami Marlins organization. What is up, fam? How you doing?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Tell me your story, man. I know you have a very it's a little bit of a different path, right? You know, to the league or to where you're at now. Introduce yourself and kind of your story and what's going on.
Well, it's kind of a long one, interesting one. So
I got time, bro.
yeah, me too. So I was a catcher in high school mostly. Could run a little bit, so I've had coaches tell me I might end up in the outfield eventually. And so I started, as I was getting closer to college, kind of started playing like a little bit of outfield, not super comfortable there yet. And then I went to freshman year of college, all pumped up and kind of scared, obviously.
Yeah. Well, you had the nerves and the exciting nerves at the same time, right?
Yeah. I met my roommate in college, Matt Ager. We lived.
Yeah, dude, Matty. Had him on. Yeah.
Yep. We slept in this bed that was like his feet was coming to my bed. Our feet were touching. I just met this guy and our feet we're sleeping with our feet touching. So I'm like, all right, this is how it's gonna be.
Do what you got to do, right?
Exactly. So freshman year,
He's a great guy, by the way, man. Great guy. Like you're fortunate to have bunked with him because what a class act individual.
Oh yeah, he's one of my closest friends. I've spent multiple Thanksgiving with his family. I mean, it's great. He's like a brother to me for sure.
That's awesome.
Going to freshman year, and it was hard. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Played for Chief South High School.
Okay.
I mean, I loved it. I mean, I can't.
Was it like a small suburb of Seattle? Was it a?
Yeah, it's in West Seattle. It's a 3A school, so it's like the second highest, like in like terms of like size.
Okay.
But we just didn't get very many like baseball players, we didn't get very many kids that played travel ball. I remember like my first week at Santa Barbara hitting off a big hack on the field, and I don't think I put a single ball out of the bubble. And I remember going back to my dorm, and as freshmen, we all ate together. Like we all text each other what time we were eating dinner. We'd all go down and we would just jam 14 guys on one table. So we'd all eat together. And I remember sitting there with all the other guys, and I look over at one of my roommates, Aaron Parker. I'm like,
I know Aaron too, man. Aaron's great too. He was on,
looking over, I'm like, this is hard. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, man, like I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to like make big strides my freshman year, just in terms of like developing as a player. I wasn't very polished at all. Like just like getting over those first struggles and that like a little bit of self-doubt that you get like creeping in. It's tough, yeah. And then so my freshman year, we had a pretty stacked squad. I mean, we had a bunch of draft guys, really old class because it was coming off the COVID. So a lot of guys had COVID years.
Right. So they got an extra year and stuff.
Exactly. And I just wasn't really ready. So I was mostly like a bullpen catcher, pinch ran a couple times. And so like that was my role as a freshman. And I was like, all right, like that's all right. Like you're a freshman. It's not like the end of the world to not play freshman year.
Sure.
And then went to summer ball, played in Victoria, Canada. Loved it. West Coast League. And I remember some advice I got before I left. I was sitting on the bus. We won the series against Irvine at their place. We're going back, and our leadoff hitter was this guy, Bryce Willits. He's with the White Sox right now. And he was a little bit of older guy, and he had 2 hits in the first inning. And I remember sitting on the butt next to him.
First inning.
2 hits in the first inning, and I'm like,
y'all went around, okay?
Yeah, they went around. Yeah, I was up.
Oh, okay. They went around
my part, get acquainted with the charts.
Yeah, I got you.
And yeah,
love the honesty, man. I love the honesty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, how are you doing it? Like he had struggled in years past, but this year he was doing great. And he's like, man, like, kind of thought this was like my last year playing baseball, so I'm just playing to have fun. Like, like decent fall. Playing well, playing a lot of outfield, catching a little bit, but I really thought like my shot was in the outfield. I had a stud, Aaron Parker, and so yeah, I was pretty pumped to win a spot in the outfield, and I thought I had a really good shot. And then 4 days before our opening game in Arizona, we are playing our scrimmage that's on Super Bowl Sunday, and I dive for a ball in the last end of our scrimmage and tear my UCL in my thumb, break my thumb. And so I remember I dove for the ball, get the ball back in, and I have to go hit. So I'm like, all right, like I think I just jammed it. I played football in high school. I'm like, oh, I just jammed my finger. Like
You knew there was something wrong, but you didn't think to that extreme.
yeah, exactly. And so I go grab my bat and I'm like, oh, I can't really wrap my thumb around it. Let me go try to go swing. And I kind of go around in like the concrete area where no one can see me and try to swing. I think I'd like let go of my bat. Couldn't even
The
like.
thumb.
So Monday, my trainer texts me. He's like, hey, like, do you want an x-ray? And I'm like, no. If you're telling me to get an x-ray, I'm gonna get an x-ray. So I get an x-ray on Tuesday, go into student health, x-ray it. I'm sitting there, doctor comes in, person comes in behind him with a brace, comes in, goes, yep, your thumb's broken. We're gonna put this brace on you. And I'm sitting there like, what? Like I broke my thumb? Like, are we serious?
No, you're not. Get that thing away from me. I got
Yeah, like we got opening day in 4 days, like
right.
3-4 days. Like I can't break my thumb right
Dude,
now.
that's a tough blow, man. Like mentally too, right? Because you just started getting to a point where you knew you could be at. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Exactly. Like got my confidence up. And so the recovery
Better
was
to
like
do it right away though. Get it done.
exactly. So the
What
recovery
was
was
that?
like 6 to 7 weeks. So I came back like I think a little past halfway through the year. So I came back and yeah, I went back into the role of like bullpen catcher and I was like, yeah, and it's it's kind of devastating, like because I show up to practice every day, support the team, do what I can, but there's only
Yep.
so much you can do, and it's tough looking from the sidelines.
Yep. No
But at
doubt.
the same
No
time,
doubt.
like it's all part of the process. So I was in my bullpen role, and and then I got a start in Hawaii during our series, I remember. And it was like a kind of a big game. Like it was like we're on the brink of making a regional. I got to start in left field. Or actually the game prior, I was in the bullpen and it was bases loaded, 2 outs. I'm in the bullpen with the guys, like probably like 2 sandwiches deep already. Not really expecting to go in.
I love the honesty. Like exactly. That's what
Yeah,
you do out there, dude. That's what you do.
yeah, that's real stuff. Like
I
I'm
know. That's
two
what you do
sandwiches
out there.
deep, chopping over the pitchers. We're like bases loaded, 2 outs, and I hear like Brownie, come to the dugout right now. Come down. I'm like, who am I pinch running for? 2 outs, bases loaded. What?
Yeah, yeah.
So
They
I
want you
strip
back.
off my gear. I keep my sliding mitt in my back pocket. It's like a little NASCAR deal, like the pitchers post up. Like I think I got some guys helping me take off my shin guards.
Yeah.
I'm like, who am I running for? They go, no, you're gonna go pinch hit. And I'm like, what? I haven't had an AB in like 2 weeks, but okay. And I remember I went in there and swung at the first pitch and smoked the ball to the shortstop, right out. So next day, I remember I got a start. Second college start ever as a sophomore. I get a start in left field. I'm like pumped up about it. Try not to think about it too much. The lineup comes out and I think I went like 3 punchies, 3 punchies, missed a ball on the ground in the outfield.
So are you starting to question how you're still on the team at this point?
Man, I'm like, man, I hope coach doesn't cut me. I might get cut or kind of creeping in my head a little bit. So go back to
That's when it starts to get real, right? Like that's when it starts to get scary too, because the only thing that you know is baseball, right? You identify yourself with baseball, and you know in your heart of hearts that you have the talent. You know what I'm saying? And the people
yeah.
around you know that you have the talent, and that's why, Jess, you're still there. Like they would have given up on you a long time ago, based on this story, bro. Which you're a great storyteller, by the way, man. Like it's like a book.
Thank you.
It's like an Audible, those Audible books. But it's the story of you. But they would have said a lot. They would have been like, listen, man, you're a talented kid, but things just aren't going your way, and we need to make room on the roster. They did it.
Mhm.
They did it. That's the
Yeah.
karma. That's the fate. There's something there, right?
Pumped from the outfield, hit well. I think I hit like 350 in the fall, couple homers, solid. And I remember we go into our first series against Campbell, and I don't get the start. And I'm like, okay, like, been here before, doing my charts,
Right.
muscle memory now. And yeah, so don't get the start. And then I remember someone gets hurt, and someone gets hurt, someone has to go in from the outfield. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be my shot. And then one of our freshmen gets put into the game over me. And great kid, absolutely love him. Rex DeAngelis, playing well right now. Love the best kid ever from Oregon. And
but that doesn't mean you want him instead of you though.
Exactly.
He can be as nice as he wants, but it don't matter.
Exactly. You got to be like, but you have to like, whatever's best for the team.
Of course, you got to put the face on, bro.
Exactly. But I was happy for him because he had a good fall too. He's freshman, established himself.
And it's easier to root for people that are good people, like.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I remember after that game, I was in a little bit of like a dark place in a sense where like, I'm really questioning like, man, like I just had a good fall. Like, I don't know, like what else I could do, all this, and like a little bit of self-doubt. And I remember talking to one of our coaches, who I played with my freshman year, Johnny Bloom, who's actually a coach with the Marlins now. Total coincidence. And he helped me through it. Not everyone's story is the same. I just kind of had a realization that like, like this stuff is out of my control. Like all I can do is like just focus on myself. And if the time comes and the time comes, then I just got to let loose. And next day I wake up, names in the lineup, third college start as a junior. I'm batting 9-hole, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Like third time's the charm,
Yeah.
And
you're in the lineup. Crack the lineup.
Yeah, I'm in the lineup. Crack the lineup. That's all you can ask for. And I remember a head coach came up to me and he goes, "Hey, like I just want you to play like you did in Victoria. Like just play like you did in Victoria, And in Victoria, it's summer ball. You play loose. You're with a bunch of guys. You're having fun, but at the same time,
I can't stress enough. These guys see you're good at your craft. They just want to see you do it.
Exactly. I remember like playing so freely that day, just like thinking like I'm here to play to have fun, like I'm just gonna do myself.
And how'd you do that day?
I think I got hit by a pitch, like 2 hits, something like that. And I was like, oh, good game,
You got a good memory, by the way, man. Like this is, to be able to kind of recite all this, like you got a good memory.
Yeah, they're close. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. But
yeah.
I did well enough to be in the lineup the next day.
Sure.
The next day, I think 3-4 hits or something like that.
Okay.
And
okay.
I think I had like
a roll.
Yeah, go ahead run or something like that. And I just remember like the feeling of like happiness that it brought me of like playing well and actually
Love that, man.
like I'm playing good again and all
Like
that.
a little kid, like baseball, right? Like
You're
playing
just playing
little league baseball, travel ball or something.
Exactly. You're just playing baseball. And then for the rest of the year, I was just kind of like, I was pretty much playing like not to get cut in a sense, in like the most raw way to say it, but also just play to have fun and like I always dreamed of as a kid.
Was that a tough call, really, though? Or are you kind of, I mean, come on, like somebody calls you and says, "Hey, come and hang out with the Marlins." I think like you can always go back to school, right?
Yeah. I actually finished my degree this past quarter. I only had one more quarter.
Good for you. What'd you get your degree in?
Biology.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem like you're cerebral dude. You got a good head on your shoulders, So again, that's a way fallback plan because we got way bigger plans here for baseball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So I think for me, it was just taking that next step was the kind of the daunting thing for me.
Yeah. But scary, right? Yeah, it's a little intimidating and kind of like, yeah, I get it.
Exactly. So I was happy. I'm happy where I am now, obviously. But yeah, I remember before, so the draft had ended and I went and took BP and, a lot of emotions going through my head. And I remember just trying to hit like every single ball out of the park because I was like, and
they were probably ground outs to the pitcher.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course,
just hooked foul balls.
Right.
In the stands.
You're way too excited. You're smacking them so early that they're going into, somewhere on the left side there, man, killing people in the stands.
Yeah, just grunting with every swing, And then I remember,
I got to ask this then because the whole like you're honestly the first I think undrafted that I've spoke to, and I've been interviewing so many of these ball players, man, and like how many I guess show up at camp in your shoes?
I know that I'm the only undrafted free agent from our class.
That's what I thought. Like, I mean, that's what I mean. It's very uncommon. So, and I guess mentally, man, because you seem like the type of cat that like kind of you can I think maybe overanalyze a little bit and don't take that critically, kind of get in your own head a little bit. But like I said, I'll go back to you being in the same. Nobody knows if you were. They don't even know if you were drafted or not, man. And a lot of these other guys, to be honest, if you're there, you're there. You're one of the family, you know. So again, it's like you got another shot now to show and prove. You can go out and do your thing. How has the experience been? I guess, with Mac, obviously there's high expectations for him this year. Obviously, wishing him the best, wishing you the best. How is the vibe? How are you spending the time down there now? As in what role? And second part of that question, how hard is it kind of not knowing, which way? Because you guys, people who aren't true baseball fans don't understand how much different and harder it is to switch positions. You know, the type of people that say like, well, just move him over to left field. What's the big deal?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that's not how it works, man. Like it's a different world,
Yeah. For me right now, I mean, I'm really like dialing in like the catching part. Haven't done any outfield stuff. Really focusing on catching because I mean,
that's
I
where
feel
your
like
heart's at anyway, right?
yeah, exactly. Like if they want me as a catcher, I'm gonna be a catcher. If they want me to play outfield, I'm gonna play outfield. I'm gonna do whatever they want me to do. I'm not one of those guys who are gonna be like, hey, like I'm not gonna do this because I don't like. I'm like, hey, like whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna do it. Just because
you're gonna earn your stripes. This is.
Yeah.
I heard you say we were playing a game in Hawaii, and I'm like, Jesus, the life you guys have, right? This is
Yeah.
Buffalo, and we don't have the opportunity to just go out right now. I mean, it's 15 degrees outside, right? So you're indoor playing at all these facilities and stuff like that, and it's a hindrance for sure.
When I was back home, I mean, it's
oh yeah, rains a little bit there.
yeah, rains a little bit, little cold there too. Yeah, it's not fun hitting with 3 sweatshirts on at the start of your workout.
Well, thank you, man. That's what people don't understand. Like, I keep telling my 11-year-old he's a really good, ball player. I'm like, dude, let's go move down to North Carolina. But, he's at the age where he's starting to get little girlfriends and stuff like that. So like it's the worst thing in the world to ever think about moving, when you're really young and like somebody tells you can't be around your friends anymore. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a tough reality to have for sure.
But you had such a roller coaster, man, and that's what I think you should be most proud of. And I mean that sincerely. In hearing your whole story, and I really just sat and listened to that whole thing. I really just kind of focused on everything you were saying. And what I take most out of that, dude, is your perseverance. There were several times, the injury was maybe the lowest point, but there was also several times in that story, that a lot of people would have threw the towel in. They would have said, listen, I have a sociology degree. I can go back. I can do whatever I want. I can be a baseball fan forever. I can be a coach. I can just root on my teammates and be a coach. I can go open my own clinic and show people how to hit because I know what I'm doing. There's a lot of different avenues, and the no quit and the grit in that whole story, man, is respect, for real. And now you're in a place now where you have an opportunity to make a major league ball club, and if you keep that attitude, the same mental that you have, I think you will. You know what I mean? And it might be a reliving of the freshman year, playing low A or high A, but that long game. How old are you?
22.
22 years old.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
20. You just turned 22. So like, a lot of these guys now, and that's a conversation I just had Davis Schneider on right before you, man. He just turned 26 years old. He had his first real big league season last year, and he's the first player ever in Major League history to have 9 hits in his first 3 games. That's how good he started. Ended the year batting 220. You know what I mean? Like, so baseball is just so unpredictable and so hard. And it's just like you're exactly where you want to be right now, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, baseball is just such an interesting game where you can give it everything you want and it's going to take it from you and not give you anything in return, So some days like that, but you just got to take it day by day and just get the most out of it, And I think that's something I learned from high school, like, growing up. Just like, I mean, when I was in high school, I worked a job. I would go to school, go to work, and then I would go hit in my facility at 11 o'clock at night, and just
yeah. It sounds like you didn't have kind of that silver spoon, easy upbringing that you see a lot of other people have. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, not to like, go too much into it,
like it's cool though. I know what you mean. Like you don't want to,
yeah.
It's not a sob story, but listen, man, it's just like I didn't have money. If you don't come from that, it's hard for other people to understand that don't come from that,
Yeah, exactly. And I was fortunate enough in the high school to have great people around me that helped me out a lot. Like one of my best friends, Marcel, he, played baseball at JUCO and we work out together every day, get our throwing in. Nestor Herman, who's the pitcher with the Orioles. Yeah. He's a year older than me in high school. I mean, we used to hop fences to go throw under streetlights, and
That's so cool,
like,
man. And those are the type of things you'll never ever forget, like it's no matter what happens, you'll always remember that stuff.
yeah, exactly. Like,
And you got some dirt on him. So at any point, if he gets lippy with you or something, man, there's some dirt you got on that dude.
exactly. Yeah. But no, I mean, I've been really grateful for my journey, and I just kind of take it day by day and just keep it going.
Let's get into a couple of fun things here with you before I let you go for the evening. Who has had the best prank pulled on him or has pulled the best prank? So you're talking about Parker. Dude, first of all, you guys are all pretty fun. So I'd like to be a fly in a room for some of these parties or just get together. But we got any good stories of pranks or anything between, like Darby or anybody? Darby kind of seems like he's the dude that would be like breaking up the fights. Parker would be the troublemaker. And who was our other? Oh, and Matt. Matt's just like, Matt wants to be with his girlfriend all the time or something. That's like,
I mean, that's crazy because you were dead on about
oh, I know, but I can read people pretty well, and I can tell you right now that's what it is. Matt's like, no, man, my girl wants to hang out, and you guys are like, no, and Parker's like, no, dude, right?
Yeah. Oh man, what can I
Tell me one good story of you guys going out or doing something.
doing something? I'm trying to think here.
It's definitely a high pressure on the spot questions.
Man, I wish I like had time to think about this.
Over the years too, like when you're living with a bunch of guys like that, man, I don't care how good of friends you are. There's times where you definitely, get on each other's nerves.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean,
Did you guys ever come to blows? Did anybody ever scrap?
no, no. I mean,
No.
there's definitely some guys got in each other faces, a little couple wrestling matches, but it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, like if I think probably the funniest thing about being my age and like, going out of college is, we have Snapchat and everything. And I mean, in 15 years, I'm going to look at my Snapchat memories and see some funny
100%.
memories from college, and
Oh yeah,
it's going
hell
to,
yeah.
I'm just
Let
going
me
to be
ask
able
let
to
me ask you this, man.
revisit.
One or two more questions I want to ask you. When you
Uh-huh.
say going to Hawaii, so you guys would be, you see Santa Barbara road games in Hawaii. Is it that? Were they road games in Hawaii? You'd fly in?
Yeah, yeah, road games, we would
Like
switch
that's
off.
think about that. That's crazy, dude. Like there's not road games to Alaska, for any sport, like even in
Yeah.
hockey or whatever. And you guys
Uh-huh.
just take a puddle jumper and shoot over to Hawaii and play a friggin' doubleheader and head back.
Yeah. We play a weekend series there, but I will tell you, it is the biggest trap game in college baseball if you
Okay.
play at Hawaii. So you go there,
Because you're shot, right?
yeah, you have the time change.
Yep.
I mean, we wake up and you naturally wake up at 7 a.m. You wake up in paradise, there's nice beaches, there's good food, there's
Beautiful
girls
women,
walking
beautiful
around.
women.
Yeah, I mean it's the biggest, and then all the games are played at night. And so you're sitting around the whole day and it's like, how are you not supposed to go to the beach in Hawaii? It's like, what else you can do? You might be out like during the day and then you have to go play the game at night, and then you walk into the stadium and you spend a little time at the beach. They have a huge stadium and they packed it. We played during their senior night. They
Okay.
packed out their stadium, crazy atmosphere. I mean,
You guys are sunburned. You guys are like dragging butt, because you were out
exactly.
all day. How did you end up doing?
I think we got swept in
Yeah.
our last series, and
But I think you've already done so much and proven so much to yourself that you've already won, right? But I mean, dude, every time you have a rough day or a rough at bat or whatever, you can go back right now and you can look at those previous experiences and already know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Does that make sense?
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks again, man. Take care.
Have a good night.